In this video, I create art with my kids and then I make art inspired by their art. This video is sponsored by Milanote. More about them later in the video. Let's get started. I have a pink apron for you. This means that you don't get your lovely dress dirty.
I know.
Oh, you're right. We're gonna do some art together today. I love doing art. Do you love doing art? Do you wanna do pencils today? Textures?
Paint. Purple and pink.
So you get to make anything you want today. And is it okay if I make something inspired by what you paint? Yeah? Okay, we're just gonna jump straight into it. Look at that, you're being so careful with your paint, it's lovely. Look at that, wow! Ooh, red. So they're the legs, the 4 legs.
Yeah.
Here we go, and in there it goes, and we've filled in the gaps, the crowd goes wild! You think you want to do the ground or a mountain maybe?
The ground.
Yeah? Ooh,
Hey.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That's a lovely face. Look at that happy unicorn.
La, la, la.
Wow, this is incredible. All right, did you have fun? So here we have it, an inspirational beginning to an artwork that I can then make based on my daughter's artwork. Now to do this with some structure and a nice creative plan, I'm going to use Milanote, the sponsor of this video. Because Milanote exists to help people think and plan better at the early stages of the creative process. It's a flexible and unstructured workspace that lets your ideas grow in whatever way makes sense to you and lets you interconnect them all in whatever way you want. It feels less like traditional software and more like working on the wall of a creative studio. It's perfect for artists and designers like me because it allows you to organize your ideas visually in a way that makes sense to you. So I'm going to fill out a board for this project and make a couple of mood boards nested in there for both MJ and B's artworks. I want to have a to-do list to mark off the things I complete as I go to keep track of progress and have a bit of visual flavor so it feels like a nice place to come into as I get started on the project. So by searching up things like rainbows and flowers and unicorn and sprinkles, I can just get the vibe for the elements and the colors that I want to use in my painting. Projects can be built by groups of creative people in a really organically creative way. When you're ready to share your work, you can invite your team and clients to gather important feedback and collaborate in real time. And Milanote is a gap I've felt in my planning process. I never had places to keep some of these random images or references that I want to come back to in one place with all my general note taking, but with the personal vibe and ease of use. So I highly recommend Milanote and it's available for free with no time limit. So go check it out and sign up with my link in the description. Huge thank you to Milanote for sponsoring this video. And now that I have my mood board, I can finally try and do justice to this gorgeous artwork. Starting with a base of liquid white, I'm going to be working with oils in this piece because I want to use that wet on wet method to create a really dreamlike landscape. Starting with pinks and purples in the sky, simply because, well, we have a pink happy sun in the corner there. I want to make sure I have that in a way that cohesively fits the landscape and my color scheme. And my early focus is on that pink and purple sky, but then I work my way towards fluffing in these clouds, capturing a little bit of that sunlight from the corner and a little bit of shadow underneath to create some depth, and then gently working my way towards a nice mountainy horizon. Then it's onto some nice lavender mountains. I want to get something pretty majestic happening. With that laid down with a palette knife and softly blended in, it's time to create those really satisfying highlights and details using the palette knife, picking up the distant snow and the shadows in the mountains. Then onto the foreground. slowly mixing in more yellow as we go so I can sort of come towards the green in the foreground. I really want to make a soft gradient because the sky being so purple and blue could potentially be a little clashing with a green grassy foreground. I just slowly work my way towards that and make sure to keep those blues mixed in with the green. And then I just dab in some of those details, starting to work in some of those flowers that Bea drew in her piece, just by creating some colored texture on a rough brush and dabbing it onto the canvas, and then doing the same to create some nice grass highlights on the foothills. Now I'm really happy with how this is so far, but this is where it's gonna start getting a little more risky. Like this could be a piece on its own, but there's a lot I need to add in, not the least of which is the rainbow. And this is where I'm a little bit nervous because I've never actually painted a rainbow before. And I don't think there's any going back. Like you can't make it, like I have to do it on what I've already got, and it might not work, but I really hope it does. I pick the area I want the rainbow to go and just gently pull away some of the paint and create a soft foundation with just a little bit of white just to make sure that the colors I put down will show up, and then gently layer in a little bit of each of the colors of the rainbow. I don't want to go obnoxious here. I want it to be subtle and feel like it fits in naturally, and then when that's down, softly blend it in. You know what? For having never painted a rainbow before, I think that turned out pretty good. I have a little bit of a sneaky plan that I'm pretty excited about. I had this idea as soon as I started picturing how to put this together, especially in layers. It's quite tricky to paint detailed things in the foreground like the unicorn and these flowers on wet oil paint, especially if you're worried about messing up what you've done, which I am because I'm really happy with it. But I thought of a way I can both play it safe and make the final result even cooler. I have laser cut a frame that can go between the background that I've just painted and a clear acrylic sheet, which will sit in front, and I can paint my foreground on. I won't get the wet oil paint on the acrylic sheet because it's divided, and that also is going to add a little bit of depth between the foreground stuff and the background, which I think should look pretty cool. Now to start off with, I need a design, and I thought because my little bee loves adorable, cute, cartoony things, I might do that as the centerpiece, but after a few attempts, it just wasn't looking any good, especially in contrast with the background. So in the end, I went in the complete opposite direction and went with a more realistic proportioned unicorn. With the rough composition laid out, I flipped my plexiglass, redrew it in a different whiteboard marker so that I could turn it back around and erase the side that I'm painting on, meaning that I can go ahead and paint to my heart's content without disturbing my reference drawing. Now her painting was a very vibrant gold unicorn with rainbow from the head all the way down to the back of the tail and mane. And while the proportions aren't realistic in her painting, there definitely is plenty for me to go off of. So I worked through my painting with a sort of very light gold as the base and slowly built up layers of shadow working towards a purple and blue in the darker areas. As everything was sort of coming together and blending, I was really enjoying this texture that I was getting between the transitions between the gold and the purples and blues. I was originally a little bit nervous about how this might look because obviously blue and gold make green. This really didn't end up feeling like it was a problem. And in fact, these texture effects blending between those layers and sporadically mixing in salmon and purple made for, I think, a really nice feel. Moving on through the mane, I have the rainbow colors of the mane working its way from the red at the top all the way down to the magenta and blue at the back. But I went in reverse so that the texture of the hair on top sort of overlays the layers underneath. But I want to get a feel for what my finished piece looks like. So I flip it all back around, erase the original line work, and while I'm there, slap in a bunch of paint behind it so that the painting that I've done doesn't look too translucent or in some of the thinner bits show through to the environment in the background. Then when we're back to the front, it's on to filling in that foreground with some vibrant green grass and some lavender flowers with pink love hearts. Last but not least, it's down to the final details. Fine-tuning my unicorn until I get a nice refined feel. Some details in the face, shadows where they're needed to add some contrast. And I missed this big blue square in the middle of the original painting, which I wasn't sure how to interpret at first, and then I thought, hey, it's a saddle cloth. It's in the middle of the body, it's bright blue, so I painted a saddle cloth on my unicorn because I guess this one's ready to ride. And last but not least, the final touches of highlights on the unicorn's horn. And my recreation of my daughter's painting has been repainted for her to enjoy. She's inspired me, and I'm hoping that my piece will be equally inspirational to her. I am just delighted with how this has turned out. It's so fun and clearly references the original, and I really love that layered effect. In fact, I think it really enhances it. Like, there's a softness in the background, and the vibrance of the colors in the foreground are even accentuated because there's just that distance. Anyways, I'm stoked. I really hope my daughter loves it too, but this has been the B show so far. It is time for MJ's turn. All right, do you want to do like a cool intro? Like you can slide in like this. Like that. Hey, gang. All right, let's do some art together, shall we?
Okay.
Well, hang on, first question is, what kind of art do you want to do?
I'm always drawing.
You like drawing?
Yeah.
That's all right. Get rid of all this.
Dad! Yeah, my dad is quite reckless.
That's how we do things here, son. Rules? No, actually, we need the paper. You want markers? All right. What do you want to do?
Why don't I do my own fan-made Undertale thing?
That's a great idea. Let's do a fan-made Undertale themed thing. Something skeleton related, because I know you love Sans. And what's his brother's name again?
Papyrus.
Papyrus is the tall skull dude?
Yes.
Oh, I haven't done my research. What's your skull character? Sans, Papyrus. They're like fonts. What if we pick like a word that's also like a font thing? Like italic, Gothic Sans, Calibri. That's a cool name.
No. Is cursive a font?
Cursive is cool. That's a great idea.
Okay, cursive, but a character called cursive that makes curses.
I love it because it sounds cursed. That's great. What does cursive look like?
I just did a circle. That's
Oh, great. That's a really good start.
I'm doing great.
You are. Sharp grin. Look at those teeth. Oh, that's great.
Oh, that's great.
Yep. What?
I'm gonna do the fleshy parts a bit, like the blood vessels and
Do you reckon he has any clothes or...
Why would he have clothes?
Don't know. Stupid question. I'm sorry.
Why don't I do like a weird vortex thing in the back?
Oh, that's a great idea. Now, this is really inspiring me. If I did something, would you want it to be like realistic and detailed, or would you like it to be more like the game?
The game in pixelated.
Pixelated.
Yeah. Gonna have one big eye in the middle.
Cool. And do you want my version of your piece to be in the Undertale combat screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Ah! I think it's safe to say that my son and daughter have somewhat different aesthetic tastes. But you know what? I want to do this as much justice as I feel I was able to do with this unicorn painting. And I don't think this is a painting one. We've gone with ink, and it's obviously themed after a very stylized game. So I think for this one, I might go digital. Now, to figure out the design of cursive, I need to get my references in here, specifically Sans and Papyrus, his brothers, with a high quality 3D rendering of each and the original pixel arts from the game. I went about first creating a high quality rendering of what cursive would look like so that I could use that as a foundation to base my pixel art off of. Now, I am really inexperienced when it comes to pixel art, so I'm sure there are ways to do it in Photoshop, but the simplest way for me, I think, is just to use a simple free online pixel art maker, which I did to create this first draft of my pixel art cursive, which I think looks pretty cool and was good practice, but then when I saved it out, it seemed too low resolution compared to the Sans that is in the fight screens of the game. So I went back to my pixel art program, which it turns out you can zoom out in, and did a slightly larger, more detailed rendering of cursive. I brought in my cursive, scaled him up, and kept all of that crispy pixelated detail, And positioning him and his little ghostly cursing minions, I have the fight screen for Cursive, complete with the text saying that Cursive is angry, which you're greeted with when you meet him. Or at least you would be if he existed in the game. Now originally my plan was super ambitious. I wanted to take this simple pixel art and cut out all of the different elements in multiple layers with my laser cutter. A background layer, a midground and a foreground. But as it turns out, all of those finicky details of individual pixels being cut out with a laser cutter get blown around with the air compressor that's also clearing out the toxic gases from cutting acrylic. Needless to say, it's not very stable and I need a different plan. I got the background and the full art of my Cursive fighting screen printed at my local office shop so that these layers could be cut up individually to create that 3D effect. But instead of having the individual elements cut out 1 pixel at a time, these will be grouped elements and I can create different intensities of depth by putting them on different layers of clear acrylic sheets, which will create a really cool floating 3D effect. So without any further ado, I am pleased to present to you the 3D gamified version of MJ's original Undertale fan character, Cursive. Here is the moment of truth. Behind the original artworks are my recreations, and I'm doubly anxious because not only do I want you to like the results, but I want my kids to like the results too, which kind of matters the most. I really hope Daddy did them proud. Let's find out. I have a present for you. You remember you made that? Da-da-dee. And it's got all the things you made. Do you like it? Oh good, I'm so glad. It's yours to keep. All right, give me a big cuddle. Love you. Hey cool dude, guess what? I have a present for you. Do you remember this?
I do.
You do? Okay, you ready?
The fan.
This is the big reveal. Cursive! In 3D. Oh, I don't want to drop it.
The only thing I kind of don't like is Frisk is level 1.
Oh no!
How do you expect Frisk to go against this guy?
Was that a big mistake?
A little mistake.
Okay.
Let's just pretend there's a 9 there. Let's just pretend there's
Let's pretend we're level 9. Awesome. Thank you for inspiring me. Did you have fun making Cursive with me?
Yes.
You see, you can put it in your room. It's very heavy. Don't drop it. Don't drop it.
I might drop it.
We say thank you so much for watching.
Please help me. I want to hold it up.
It's too heavy for you. You got it?
Thanks for watching.
No thanks. You don't want to say that?
Thanks for watching.
Okay.
And please subscribe.
This is a collab. Round of post-production applause for the little Jazza Kiddling Eagles. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye. It's too heavy.
My neck.